Good afternoon. You're listening to Scariff Bay Community Radio and Local Media This Week, the programme where we have a look at what the local media are writing about and we let you know. The Clare Champion and the Clare Echo are the two papers we have, and we're great supporters here of the Clare print media. It's great to have two newspapers in Clare, and we want to keep it that way, so we urge everyone to support our print media. The programme is sponsored by Ruth Griffin Photography, and we're very grateful to Ruth for her sponsorship. Now, around the table today, we have, there's four of us sitting around the table. Pat O'Brien. Pat, good to see you here.
Thanks, Jim.
And Tom Handley. Great to have you, Tom.
Well, it's a pleasure as always, Jim. Yeah.
And joining us today off the bench is Luke Fleming. Luke, good to see you up and about and taking part rather than just, you're still doing the sound, but...
Well, I thought after last week, Jim, you were back and I'd be gone, but sadly not.
No, we're missing David today, so hopefully David...
We'll give him a rest.
Yes, he deserves his holidays.
Mind you, the fact that it's from Cork, would it have anything to do with anything missing this week, I wonder?
Yeah, I suppose he's recovering after Galway's win over Cork last week.
Yeah.
But and I suppose we'll start with that. On page 1 of the Clare Echo, there's a photograph there, and I suppose it sums up it's by Ruth Griffin, our sponsor, and it sums up the whole thing last week. Peter Duggan is kind of stretched on the ground, and it was a penalty, but it was only a yellow card.
Well, apparently the ref stuck rigidly with the rules, in order for it to be a black card, the player should have been fouled in possession of the ball. But the fact that the ball was going on ahead of him, it was okay to foul him.
Yeah,
What do you think, Pat?
He flicked it over him, yeah. Well, that's the way the goal is, but he didn't catch him catching the helmet as well. There's plenty of photographs there with him driving the helmet, the face guard.
It was a cynical foul.
A cynical foul, and that's a red card by the rule.
Not just black card, red card.
It's a red card, yeah.
And you can see the Clare supporters with two arms out. You can say what they're saying, like, ref, what's going on here? Yeah. And none of the Limerick supporters have their hands out or are complaining in any way about it.
Yeah. So near and yet so far.
No, the Limerick crowd on social media all week, they're making out a Clare were whinging of Indeed.
Yes. I wonder, Pat, I was thinking about this during the week. In soccer you have VAR. And we've seen incidents of it with the World Cup where who got a goal the other night against Argentina, was it, and it was held.
And you have the TMO as well.
They went back. You have the TMO and rugby. I mean, there have been, and I'm not talking about this incident now solely, but there have been major embarrassments with the GAA. I mean, Meath against Louth back in 2014 was probably the worst of them. Where any bit of video, assistance would be would put the referee on the right track.
But then, Pat, you're heavily involved with GAA and you're on the county board. But where do you, if you bring in, let's say, video evidence, we call it, one call it VAR, one call it TMO, whatever, that sort of thing, where do you stop?
Yeah,
is it the All Ireland Championship, County Championship, or do you bring it down to club level?
You can bring it in. You bring it in first for County Championship. For the county teams.
Yeah. If it's being televised.
Most matches are televised. Probably all the matches are televised now.
Well, there's
all inter-county games are.
Surely they can have a television monitor beside the pitch. They probably have them in all the pitches, county grounds, where someone is sitting down, he's watching it, and he's saying to the referee, "Look, there's a problem. Have a look at it."
I don't believe they want that to happen.
They don't want it in soccer either. A lot of the
but soccer is technically a professional game.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you think about it, how many stadiums have Hawkeye? 2.
2,
3, yeah.
Cork Park, Thurles Simple Stadium, and Páirc Uí Chaoimh.
Okay,
but the only one that is anyway efficient is the one that's in Cork Park. Apparently they use laser technology.
The one in Thurles is slow anyway. I don't know about Cork now, but different.
So it's like if you'd be depending on a broadcaster to bring the amount of cameras. Like I don't think you can compare we'll say something like the World Cup to a GA championship, like RTE or whatever like that, they might have 5 or 6 cameras at a game, but if you want to cover everything, you'd probably need 10 or 12. Like I think
Look,
for a soccer
wouldn't
game,
the camera in your phone damn nearly do it.
it has to be pointing the right way. It'll have to be pointing the right way. For a soccer game, I think 28 cameras is what they use.
A soccer game?
Yeah.
Really?
For a Premiership game.
And rugby, the TMOs, when they...
Rugby's probably the same.
Yeah, I see they have I was in Connacht Rugby recently, and they have, as well as all the other cameras, they have one at each corner flag. And they have different mobile cameras.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I just think, particularly, we'll say our high-profile games, All-Ireland semi-finals, final, maybe provincial championship finals. I mean, what you want is the correct result.
You do.
You could argue maybe have a camera either side of the pitch that would cover maybe out as far as the 21, at both ends.
Yeah.
That might take 4 cameras or something like that, and that it mightn't be broadcastable, but that it would be available for review.
For the referee.
But RT would have 2 cameras there. They'll show it back immediately when there's a problem.
But you see,
they'll immediately have it on the screen.
See, the way, Pat, all the gas stadiums, probably, none of those, I would imagine, were built with sort of, dedicated spots for cameras. If you want to go doing that the same way, you need to have the cameras in the same spot. And I'd imagine that the stadiums, maybe with the exception of Croke Park and the likes of the Aviva, I don't think that any of the stadiums are sort of set out for, to have dedicated spots to sort of say, right, that's, we'll say, the halfway line, there's a camera right on that line, here's the end line, there's a camera right there. And that's where you sort of wind up with controversy over it, because the Premiership games, their cameras are set that they are the same for every game.
Same positions.
Same positions.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what stadium you're in, they're the same, set at the same position.
And I think that applies for rugby as well, because somebody told me that when the Irish Rugby were using Croke Park while the Viva was being built, that the IRFU wanted so many extra cameras put in place, which there were, and I believe they're still available there, that any team that plays in Croke Park now can have access to a lot of that footage afterwards if they want to do their video analysis for themselves. Is that true, Pat? Have you heard that? No.
Well, yeah. But there's a lot of we'll say going back to the incident there with Mickey Quaid and Peter Duggan. Most of the media outlets on your phone, if you pick up your phone at the end of the game or even this before the game was over, you could see the photograph of Mickey Quaid and having his hand inside in Peter Duggan's face cap and dragging him down.
But you had the referee, 2 linesmen
and
2 umpires, and none of them saw it.
None of them see it. Or else they ignored it.
Yeah. So it's
do refs make enough of use of, let's say, the umpires for a situation like that?
Well, the linesman definitely was in it, and the umpires, he was talking to the umpires.
Well, you have an assistant ref on the line, haven't you?
I remember the incident with Meath and Louth.
Yeah, that was terrible. Yeah.
He, literally, the Meath's player threw the ball with his 2 hands over the line. And none of the umpires apparently saw it, or if they did, the referee came in and told him put up the flag.
He went in and told him. He didn't even consult him in that match. He just told him put up the flag.
So, there should be. I mean, that was. That was the most embarrassing thing for the GA in recent years.
And then the GA, the way they carry out their stuff, they went in and they said to Meath, they put the onus on Meath in to give a replay, which they weren't going to do.
They weren't going to do.
What happened in 97 with Jimmy Cooney called up the game short?
98,
Or 98, there was a certain man who been too quick to offer a replay to them, I think.
We won't mention Trump and his call to Infantino to...
Someone on Facebook said that maybe Clare County Board should get on to Trump. And he might get to match over Trump.
Actually, mentioned the World Cup, I just happened to hear, watching maybe a review of it or something. They now have some sort of a receptor or a transmitter within the football that they can tell whether the ball has actually gone over the line or not, or whatever. So maybe we'll have that in the Slithers.
Well, they haven't that in the GA yet.
Not yet, but next year maybe.
Okay, flip off.
You're going to tell us to do that, are you?
No, but it's in the front of the Clare Echo. Pádraig has a story there about Dusty the dolphin, and apparently Dusty has had an audio pinger to worry about. They're trying to keep him away, I suppose, from bathing
Yeah.
areas. But apparently, anyway, this pinger is being switched off.
Yeah.
So Dusty can relax and
Yeah, well, we had a fairly robust discussion about that last week when it was proposed to use it, and I think there was a lot of outcry in general in relation to it, you know.
Yes,
so
there was,
I think there's strangely enough, I'll say there's a bit of common sense has been used.
Yeah, they had a big meeting on Monday night anyway, and I think there was even some people attending
Couldn't get in,
couldn't
yeah.
get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. One of the things they said there that was licensed by the National Parks and Wildlife Service. I doubt if they licensed it specifically for Dusty, you know.
Well, there, if you read the debates, Tom, there was the pinger was used last year before the authorization had been granted.
Oh,
the
I see.
proper
I see.
authorization
Yeah.
had been granted.
Yeah.
So,
I presume it's kind of an underground. You see, sound travels a lot further and
Yeah.
better underwater than it
Underwater,
does through
yeah.
the air. You know, so I presume it is an underwater device. This pinger.
Oh, yeah, it is, yeah.
And
But you see, these are wild animals anyway, and people go in messing with them, you know.
well,
And if
sure.
they left them alone, let them for their own, you know.
Well, that's the other side of the debate, kind of, you know.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Fungi was worth a fortune for years in Dingle.
Dingle, it was,
And
yeah,
Dusty
yeah.
is off the west coast, I think, up around Fenor, that area. And people do go out to swim alongside him, and apparently he's
Yeah.
quite sociable. He takes a dislike to the odd person. He can rough
yeah.
them up a little bit.
Yes.
and
Yeah,
even
yeah.
run
and
the
that's
risk
the
of injury.
danger.
It
That's
is.
danger,
They
yeah.
are wild animals, you see. That's,
You remember Flipper? When you were a child, Tom, and you were watching it on TV, and Flipper was a real pata.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But not every dolphin is Flipper.
No.
Pat, you remember Flipper?
I do.
I was going to say we didn't have television in our time, you know, we were that young. But we've heard of him anyway, yeah.
Okay, moving to the Clare Champion, the headline there, Dan has a story. Donors to Bunratty have passes rescinded, which seems like, I'm not saying it was the wrong thing to do, but maybe the way they did it wasn't so
I
nice.
suppose we better explain what the Friends of Bunratty Pass. Anyone over the years that would have given some bit of, let's say, any bit of old equipment that was, let's say, an antique, they would loan it to the Bunratty Folk Park. And in return, let's say that family got a Bunratty Pass, Friends of Bunratty Pass. But now the Clare County Council have taken over the running of that for the last couple of years, so they decided, right, we're not giving out any more than free passes, you know, or rescinding them. And they didn't even notify the people that were carrying them.
Yes.
And then they're also offer, oh, well, you can take back your heirloom, whatever it is now.
Yes.
So I don't know, it's a
well,
pity.
I think, again, it looks to be something that there is governance and financial control issues identified, apparently. However, a spokesperson, you know, said that the program to be discontinued in its current format, but they told no one,
Yeah.
and they had granted passes already to people that
For
are
this year?
technically
Yeah.
valid
This
till
year, yeah.
December 31st, 2026.
Yeah.
So if you're walking up with a pass you think is valid, it's a little bit rich now to then sort of someone to sort of say, "Oh, sorry, your pass is rescinded." Sort of, why? You know, if they had sort of communicated the fact that oh, we made a mistake giving out passes this year, we've decided blah 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 blah. You'd say well and good, but like it just seems to be a lack of.
So just a bit there, look about Patricia Quilligan. 6 Mile Bridge said she presented her pass on June 14th while she was visiting the folk park with American guests, only to be told it was no longer valid. It was hugely embarrassing upon querying from the donors being advised to make an itemised list of their donations, and these items can be returned upon request if they so wished.
Well, should
So,
then half of the stuff that's in the folk park would be gone if that's the
It could
case.
be
you know?
done, it could, yeah.
Yeah, but like,
Just a kind of silly
why could they not have done that before
Yeah.
and tell people, you know? But yeah,
Or e-
but
or
that's why
even-
I'm saying that.
Or even give them notice like that these will expire on the 31st of December.
Next year, and
well, having given out passes for this year, why have they gone and done
Why
that?
have they gone the other
That-
way?
It
Yeah.
looks like a PR FUPA, I suppose.
Yeah,
or
well,
Yeah.
FUPA for
yeah.
Clare County Council
But
anyway.
that's not the first thing this year. There was
But
other-
somebody is responsible for that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know, and anyway, okay, we'll leave it at that. Leave Bunratty there. The group marks 2 years of Shannon protests, and the Shannon Sunday Vigil group, they held a peace camp outside Shannon Airport, I think marking 2 years of the protests of the use of Shannon by the US military. And that's on
They're
page.
there every weekend, I think, are they? I've seen them there more than once anyway.
Yes.
They're not
Yeah.
there 24/7.
No, it's a weekend
weekend
peace
thing,
camp.
yeah.
But and there's more of it on page 2 in the Clare Champion this week. The other thing on the front page is Clare solicitors. I don't think it's just Clare. I think
No,
it's
they're nationwide, yeah.
but they continue to protest over legal aid fees. So there seems to be some confusion about people who are granted legal aid by the court, but they end up with no solicitor to represent them.
Yeah, the solicitors that were on the free legal aid panel have withdrawn their services, which I suppose is a commercial decision on their part, but, you know, they shouldn't be forced to do it. But then if somebody is accused of a serious, well, medium to serious crime anyway, they're entitled to legal aid, whether it is, if they can't afford it privately, you know, the state had been in the habit of providing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think free legal aid is the greatest gravy train going, Tom.
I don't know about that now. I've never had to avail of it. You know.
No,
Well,
you
for the
mightn't
simple-
be in a position to avail of it,
For
Tom.
the simple reason that you could have 70, you could have 80, you could have 90 convictions, and you still get free legal aid.
Yeah.
Understand?
You'd imagine if it's
Well,
a once-off thing.
No, I don't
no-
think. I don't think that's the biggest
a limit
issue,
to
Pat. I think the biggest issue is that the amount of time that cases are sort of called and then put back,
Yeah.
and every time they're put back, the solicitor is getting paid. And this dispute is in relation to that there will be a certain amount of times that the cases can get put back, and that then they're on a flat fee. And I don't think that any solicitor should have too much of a problem with that, because a lot of the time, and this is just a general comment, that there would be a perception that cases get dragged and dragged and dragged, and
The meter is still ticking.
the meter is still ticking. So,
Yeah.
like, if the meter is if the meter continues to tick, and there can be valid reasons why it
Yes,
needs to
yeah,
tick,
yeah.
you know, we'll say witnesses mightn't be available, or
Book of evidence,
other
whatever. yeah.
other stuff mightn't be available. But there is a bit of a perception out there, and if you look at the amount of money that solicitors across the country receive that are involved in the legal aid, because you have a lot of you have scenarios where there may be 2 or 3 solicitors per county
Yes.
are
Specialising in this.
heavily involved
Yeah.
in legal aid.
Legal aid,
They
yeah.
get well compensated for
Yeah.
it, and I'd leave it at that.
Yes. I remember being in the High Court as a witness once, and I won't talk about the case, but my favourite sound is from the judge when it came to sort of early afternoon and they reached an end of, let's say, one part. Shall we rise until tomorrow? And so it might only be 3 o'clock or
Yeah.
1:30.
But another thing about the free legal aid is the amount of fellas that you keep committing crime away, and you still get free legal aid. Shouldn't there be some kind of a control over that as well?
Yeah.
Well, look, it can be abused
Oh, such as
on all sides. You know.
the career criminals are abusing the left, right, and centre.
Well, it's the ordinary taxpayer who's paying for
He's
it.
paying for it. He's yeah.
Okay, we'll go on.
Well, we mentioned that photograph.
You can, Tom, yes.
One of my favourite photographers, John Kelly, has one there. You couldn't 2 lads playing their banjos there at the Willie Clancy summer school,
yeah.
and you could see the concentration. You could nearly hear the music coming up out of that picture, can you? You know.
And the picture in the background on the wall
yes,
there
yes,
as well of,
yes.
you know, older people.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they have a fabulous week for the Willie Clancy School this week with the fabulous weather.
Did you go back?
And I didn't go, Tom, no.
Yeah.
No. And it's thronged out, it's packed out.
That has to be
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
They're having a great week, I think.
Because there are issues there with parking.
That gets a mention.
Because I know we discussed this before where I think maybe the community people had come together to to solve the parking
Yeah.
issues.
I thought they were to do something about it this year, but
Yeah, but apparently it hasn't worked because
Yeah.
festival brings parking chaos to
Yeah,
Midtown.
they stopped the parking on the main street. They have no
Yeah.
parking on the main street.
But sure, it's like everything else.
It's the park on the main street.
It moves, you know.
You have to go down to the park or somewhere.
Because you have to find somewhere to park.
Yeah. Well, they provided a couple of car parks, all right. But I think the big problem with this woman here, I was reading her, this Mary Cullen, she's from the
He's
Lu-
treasurer
Luaney
of
Residents Association,
Sea Residents Committee.
yeah, and she said that the camper vans are the big problem, that they're blocking the road, and if there was any emergency, the fire brigade or the ambulances or anything wouldn't be able to come in.
Yes. But I suppose you have to plan and you have to provide car parking if you're going to
But this
move it off the street.
camper van, there's another story there on camper vans on the Hinge. This camper van thing is a huge issue for places to park. Proper
yeah. I'll
parking.
tell you where it's a nuisance, and I was actually was in a supermarket car park today. Your standard car parking space isn't sufficient for camper vans, and sometimes they have to park across and maybe occupy 3 car spaces.
Yeah,
Whereas on the continent, and I've seen it in France and in Spain as well, kind of, let's say big supermarket, they have dedicated parking spaces for
camper
maybe
vans.
half a dozen camper vans.
Yeah.
That's not
Imagine-
interfering with ordinary cars.
Imagine that, no planning.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, camper van parking will be crazy in the Hinge this summer. And I suppose we have the summer now, so I suppose
Yeah.
it is already.
And camper vans are getting more plentiful because
Yeah, but you imagine
accommodation is not cheap.
they could put in designated, like
yeah.
the council, all you do is a bit of ground and maybe put in a toilet and have a gravel area or macadam and charge them something.
Extra wide, extra long
Yeah.
parking spaces, a few dedicated
Yes.
spots.
And charge X amount for
And
them
a
for
lot of people
staying
are
there.
going the camper van route.
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah,
it's-
yeah. Did you ever
Okay.
think about it, Jim?
I did indeed. I have often thought about
So
it.
have I, but hard to get planning permission for it at home.
Yeah, that's the first place you have to look for planning.
It is.
Page 4 of the Clare Echo. It's, I think anyway, a sort of an unusual headline. Minister blames officials for delayed Broadford works. And you don't often see ministers blaming their officials. I know they have to blame somebody, but these officials are people that they depend on to get things done and get them supplied with information.
Well, I'd like to know what action has been taken against the said same officials. Because if they're the fault, what has been done about it?
Yes.
And I can tell you pretty much the answer is probably sweet FA.
Nothing, whatever.
Because Darragh O'Brien came down to Broadford, it says it was 2023, December 23, and announced it for Coral Clare, and there hasn't been a thing done since. Now they're going to design, they're starting to design it now 4 years on.
Yeah. But
And money has been allocated to it.
Yeah.
So
It
it wasn't a question of finance.
No, but he says here, speaking to the Clare Echo, Minister O'Brien, he did not know it would take so long for the scheme to progress and was frustrated at how slow it was moved. And why didn't he go in and ask someone in the department?
but then
Why
he
is he
says,
going out telling the
Well,
papers?
here's a great quote there. If I can be dead straight with you, there was quite a degree of resistance within the department at official level to these schemes.
Yeah, I heard that as well now from councillors.
is there
But sure,
shades
we
of
heard-
yes, Minister, about this?
Yeah, but we've heard that literally, I'd say, from about 6 months after they were announced, and we were wondering where nothing was going on, because it's not just Broadford and Coora Clare. There was 10 places around the country are part of this pilot scheme. So I'm sure there's four other counties that are roaring just as much about it as this.
Remember that great TV series, Yes, Minister?
Yeah.
Is there shades of it?
But why isn't there why is
Civil service versus the politicians?
why isn't there someone in charge in these departments saying,
But
look,
like-
we want this thing done?
But this is a €50 million project that money had been assigned to
Allocated,
as a pilot. So again, where's the big issue?
Well, the government makes a decision. Surely it's up to the
It's up
officials
there.
to implement the
they
decision
carry
the
it out.
government makes,
Yes.
They carry it out.
rather than be resisting.
I said, who's wagging the tail?
Yes.
Yes, Minister.
Yeah. But
Brings it up to
it's an honest report.
It
and
is,
it's,
it is.
an honest interview by the minister.
What's rare is golden.
Yeah.
There's another article there about Irish water as well, Jim. Kilkee locals left devastated over High Court dismissing review action over wastewater treatment plant. And they took it to the High Court about the wastewater treatment, put over on the cliffs. They wanted it moved away from the Kilkee cliffs. But they were turned down by the High Court anyway. And they had a GoFundMe page which raised €97,687. And I suppose it cost them that to go to the High Court.
To go to the High Court.
But they have been turned down anyway.
Yeah.
But it appears from what some of these people say that this wastewater treatment plant isn't a proper treatment plant at all. That it is going to take the wastewater on right.
Solids, is it?
But they're going to have big tanks to take away the solids, and they're going to pump the water out into the bay.
Yes.
But apparently what's happening is, I gather from reading between the lines of this that there's no sewage treatment in Kilkee, and they let it off out to sea.
Yeah.
I remember in school we do when the new treatment plant came to Mount Shannon.
Yeah.
God be good to him. Now Billy Hickey was over it, and he brought us down as a class to show us how it worked. But again, it's like your story. The water is treated to a certain extent and then out to the lake, and the solids came and carted off to landfill.
Yes.
Somewhere.
Yes.
You know, and that's
There's another story there as well, Jim, on the water as well. Abstraction deferred is welcomed in East Clare, and that's Dan has the story there, and Parley has it there in the Echo as well.
It's on page 5 in the Echo.
And 5 in the Champion.
Yeah.
3 in the Echo, I think so.
Yeah. The decision
Yeah, you're right, Leo.
by uncommissioned
3 in the
Canada
Echo.
to defer making a decision for up to 1 year on Scariff's contentious plans to extract more than 300 million litres of water a day from the River Shannon to boost supply in the east of the country has been welcomed by a local councillor. The proposed water supply project for the Eastern and Midlands region is the largest ever water project in Irish history. RCP had indicated its intention to make decision on Scariff's strategic infrastructure development application on July 2nd, but has written to all parties to say that the Commission now intends to determine this application before July the 2nd, 2027. So they have it deferred for a year.
Can I just ask there, Pat? They have uncommissioned Planolas, the new version of board Planola, bigger, better, more staff, more everything, more
efficient,
governance,
more
more
teeth.
blah 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 blah, and in their own rules, they state that they they aim to make a decision within 18 weeks of an application being put in. Why did they wait until week 17 and a half to come out with that statement saying that they're deferring it for up to a year?
Well,
up to a year.
Yeah.
Could they not have said that after a week or two when they started to look at it and sort of said, we're not going to do this within the 18 weeks, lads, it might take us 6 months. That's bullology of the highest
if you don't make a decision, you don't make a mistake, you know.
Yeah, but
Kick the
why?
can down the
Yeah,
road.
but why?
They're charged with making decisions. They should make them.
Correct. It's a little like where is the? I won't say governance because governance is probably the wrong word. But where is the sort of outrage for lack of this? This is a thing that the Taoiseach and the Taoiseach have both came out and said is critical to the future of the country. This is a huge national project that they're going to spend a truckload of money, probably the Apple money on.
10 billion.
Yeah. And sure, by the time it's done, if you put it off another year or two, it'll probably be 13 or 14. But again, no accountability, no responsibility, and we wonder why we are where we are.
And I suppose to look at the reasons, and they don't talk about the reasons, but presumably they're not resourced enough to do it in the time that's
Well,
available.
then why are they coming out and saying we'll make a decision within 18 weeks? Because of this like your headline thing.
And you have another situation, of course, with Irish Water, where Micheál Martin defends Scariff's awarding themselves 18 million of bonuses in the midst of the company being fined another 31 million for failing to do their job. So, and Micheál Martin defended in the door, I see the other night.
Well, the only thing I'll say, and I'll give them some little bit of a break, that they mightn't be able to do their job because they're not being funded properly. And they can't be funded properly because as the way it has been set up, without an income, they can't sort of, for state borrowing rules in the EU. And that was our politicians made the balls of it day one.
How come they're being defined 31 million and there's another 18 million on bonuses?
Yeah, but
18 million in bonuses would probably put three solar plants into a place like Northford, Clare and the Mills or like.
I'm not arguing that fact at all,
If
Pat.
they were depending on you, they'd get no bonus, would they?
Yeah.
Pardon?
If they were depending on you, you wouldn't give them any
Well,
bonus.
I wouldn't give many
Well, like
bonus.
Michael-
If you pay the salary, you pay the salary.
Well, like Michael O'Leary gets rewarded, we'll say, if the share price goes up or if they make X amount of money. What? I said...
But that's private enterprise, you see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I said, why are they being rewarded for... despite the fact that they haven't enough money to do what they're supposed to be doing.
Well, they've been rewarded for failure.
Yeah.
They have. And I think there, I had it on the phone there as well, where that lady from the Social Democrats, what's her call her name? She
Holly Cairns.
not Holly Cairns, no, another lady there, she called them out on it the other night in the door as well.
Okay. There's a photograph there, and I know you love photographs, Tom, on page 4 of the Clare Echo, or is it the Clare Champion? No, must be the Clare Champion. It's entitled Heads Together.
Yes, beautiful, isn't it?
Page 4 of the Clare Champion.
Yeah. Brothers in arms.
Yes. Yeah. It's a brilliant photograph.
Are they the Mills jerseys, Pat, they're showing in that photo?
They're the second jerseys, that's right.
I see, yeah.
Well, that's your Division 5 final.
Yeah, final, yeah. There was a Lodium that's there playing up into the pitch.
In a little huddle.
There was about 30 of them there and they were all huddling and it was this thing took place. But I was on to John Kelly actually at the match.
He caught it nicely, didn't he?
Yeah, he's a great eye for photographs like that.
I like that photograph tells a lot, doesn't it?
It does. Well, I mean, that's the way seniors get together before the game or maybe before the second half and some last-minute decisions. Luke, you have
we've about
floating gasification.
We've a minute, Jim, talking about more great decisions and forward planning. The plans for Cahercon. I do like that the government minister has said that it's going to be sold off. The infrastructure will be sold off when the need has passed. I said despite the fact that this will probably take 10 or 15 years to be built, we'll probably still not be doing what we should be doing from a renewables point of view or trying to do things properly. So if it does get built, it'll probably be there for another 30 or 40 years after that. But they've said they're going to sell it off down the line. Isn't that great?
Yes.
I said, who are they going to sell it to?
Yes.
There's another story there on that as well. Eileen Goff has it on page 6. Johnny McGettigan raises her opposition to LNG terminal.
Yeah. So by the time we don't need it, no one else will need it.
Well,
right?
Yeah. Should be sort of like the embarrassing thing where they were going to give all these armoured cars to the Ukraine, and they didn't want them. They turned them down.
Yes.
And they were after costing I don't know how many million. Yes. And they were breaking down and they decided they were going to give them to the Ukraine and the Ukraine said they didn't want them. Yeah.
Warfare has changed totally,
They're going to
drones now.
They're going to now? They're going to scrap now. After
Pat,
80 million or something.
We're at half time.
Time for the tea, is it?
Do you have a track that
I do, yeah.
you could play for us that we'll sit back and relax and listen to?
Welsh-born singer Bonnie Tyler passed away during the week at age 75, and we'll have Lost in France from Bonnie Tyler.
Brilliant. Okay, many thanks, Pat. Lost in France, the late Bonnie Tyler.
I was lost in France, in the fields the birds were singing. I was lost in France, and the day was just beginning. I just stood there in the morning rain. I had a feeling I can't explain. I was lost in France, in love.
You're very welcome back. You're listening to Local Media this week on Scariff Bay Community Radio, and our sponsor is Ruth Griffin Photography. And you were listening there to the late Bonnie Tyler and Lost in France. So we'll have another track maybe later on before we finish, if we don't talk too much, and we leave a bit of time for it. In the second half of the programme, it'll be mostly about East Clare and East Clare matters in the paper. But Pat, you mentioned there one thing we didn't mention in the first half is, and I suppose it's on today being Sunday, the Clare County Show.
Yeah, the county show is usually in the showgrounds in Ennisjim, and it's the 120th year of it, so it is a big day for them. And I suppose with the weather being so good and everything, they should have a great day in the showgrounds. Okay. And it's reasonable bill. It's only €10, and actually, well, I like going to agricultural shows, especially if a fine day. It's just nice to go around to all the different stands and all that's in it. And it's a nice day out, like, you know.
I suppose if you haven't been there already, you're not going to get there now. But you never know. You could, if you're anywhere around Ennis, you could slip in.
Yeah, anytime from 9 in the morning until 5 in the evening. So
okay, so you have a couple of hours if you're in the Ennis area today.
So much cheaper to keep it going for 120 years, isn't it?
Isn't it? Yeah.
That used to be traditionally held, I think, on the 15th of August.
15th of August was.
And there was a certain president of Ireland at the time. He used to come down every year to present the De Valera Cup.
Yeah.
President De Valera himself, you know.
Yes.
Because he was a TD for Clare in his time anyway, wasn't he?
Well, he first became TD for East Clare in 1918, I think.
Yeah.
But I think actually the cup is presented all the time, the De Valera Cup for the best
champion of the show.
Champion of the show, yeah.
And he was TD until he became president in 1959. So he was over 40 years as a representative of East Clare and Clare. Okay, looking at East Clare matters, we're only a few weeks away from the Scariff Harbour Festival, but it does get a bit of promotion on page 8 in the Clare Echo and page 13 in the Clare Champion, and that is the Camino of Hope. And we will be familiar with the Camino coming in northern Spain to Santiago de Compostela, but this is a walk to the lower uplands of the Aughty Mountains, Capavan.
Well, yeah. Capavan. Of course, the Massrock is up there, and there's a tradition. It's in the John Collins's farm there, and they facilitate the Mass every year, weather permitting. Yeah.
So it's actually the walk is up, and then there's a mass.
Starting in the squares, the market house.
Yeah, and then there's a mass above there.
Yeah, mass above there. Yeah, and they're going to stop on a few places on the way up.
I didn't clearly say that there on the article. You know?
Yeah.
But
and we hope to broadcast for those people who aren't in a position to make the trek.
Yeah, broadcast the mass from over there.
Hopefully we'll broadcast the mass from the Massrock in Capavan this year.
Yeah, that's
with Bishop Fintan Monaghan.
And I think Father Pat Larkin, I think, was instrumental in introducing the Camino walk aspect to it. You know?
Yes.
Our new. Well, we have him for the last 12 months now. A relatively new PP here in Scariff. Yeah.
Okay. So anyway,
and hopefully we'll have nice fine weather.
Yeah.
Hopefully it will be grand if this continues.
And we hope it does, Jim.
Pat, you didn't win that 50,000 in the Clare lot?
I didn't. Actually, I don't do the lot at all. I do the local lot, all right, but it's about the only lot. That's why I don't win on that. So.
It'll help if you bought a ticket. You might have some chance of winning.
Yeah.
There are other, there's a full weekend of activities starting on the Thursday night before the August Bank Holiday weekend in Scariff, and I'm sure it's online, and there's usually they produce a booklet or a leaflet to say what's on.
Yeah, they usually
and we'll be there. Scariff Bay Community Radio will be.
And going back to photographs there, there's the photograph there of Michael Rogers, and I suppose his son is it, and his wife there at the match in Thurles.
Yeah, Michael Rogers and his wife Marion and son Killian
at the game.
At the game, and we have to look at the.
We'll just find out where
the difference.
What's the difference? Yeah.
Yeah. So. Very nice.
7 differences. Now that's a challenge for somebody. There's none of them are ever obvious, you know.
No.
Yeah.
but I'm sure they're there. Anyway, that's the Clare Echo. On page 2 in the Clare Champion, it says Scariff burglary. On the side,
brief,
you'd often miss stories that would be in the briefs because we tend to look at the main articles and whatever.
Yes, yeah.
But Scariff burglary, but it's Scariff Gardaí are investigating a burglary. The burglary happened in Ballinakillu in Whitegate.
Ballinakilla, yeah. That'd be down, say, around Meelick Bay, I'd imagine,
Yeah.
that general area. Yeah.
A lone male entered an unoccupied house. So anyway, the Gardaí are investigating that. So if you can help them, please do. There is another one there. No, it's not East Clare, but it is rather strange. Ubber in Newmarket and Fergus.
Yeah.
And Ubber do fantastic work around Clare. They bring meals to people who aren't in a position to go for themselves.
They have a huge network of vans and everything, Jim. They do
Well, there's
huge work.
5 vans showing in that photograph there
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
page 3 of the Echo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had money saved and they left it put in a locker or space away for some the staff for a night out or a weekend out or something, and it was broken in and stolen, which is terrible.
Someone who must have known that the jam jar was there.
Yes, we were doing a match last weekend, Friday of last weekend in Newmarket, and we drove down past Ubber and we saw the vans parked there.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, it's particularly callous to
This wins this still.
steal from a group like that.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
It's the kind of thing you could say about it. It's mean.
It is. It is.
Very mean,
It's very, very mean.
It is the lowest mean,
It
mean,
is.
Tom.
Yeah.
Because Ubber they're a voluntary group.
Oh, yeah. Meals on Wheels, yeah.
Yeah.
Service.
So, but anyway, that's unfortunately,
Yeah.
that's the reality that we have to.
The times we live in, I suppose.
The times we live in, yes. On page 8 in the Clare Champion, there's we touched on this story, I know, a few weeks ago, but there was a plaque. Plaque remembers well-known activist. Now, there's a picture there on the right, but that's a different story altogether. But the activist was John Grimes, and John was a legend down in Killaloe. He was involved in music down there. He played with a group, with a band.
Yes.
He presented a radio program every week, a country music program online to all over the world. And he was, for quite a number of years, was our correspondent in Killaloe. So John, a lovely man, really, really lovely man. And
Yeah, he wasn't. He wasn't old as you could say.
no, he was
71.
not. He was not. But anyway, the Shannon Folk Four was the group he was
That's
in,
right, yes,
and they
yes.
made a record called "The Four Who Fell," based on the 4 Scariff martyrs, and that was back in 1968.
Yeah.
But lovely musician, but more importantly, a lovely man. And there's a plaque on the seat, and it says the sudden death. Well, it wasn't very sudden, but he was ill for a while. He lived there in Main Street, and he died on the 11th of January 2021.
Well, it's nice to remember, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
so
yeah,
he
yeah.
did, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the John Grimes. We had Vikings in Killaloe last week. I don't know, Luke, whether you were visiting Killaloe or...
I passed through, and the only thing I would say, they were parked in the Dean's Field, and it looked very impressive, but the old tents look very clean.
Yes.
You'd expect Viking tents to be used and have...
no, maybe we've been wrong all along. If you look at the Norwegians at the World Cup, they're doing a lot of rowing, so maybe the Norwegians do a lot of cleaning of their tents.
yeah,
but,
that's the new Mexican wave, is that? Rowing.
but it's
It's spectacular, isn't it?
It is, but it's the Norwegians who do it.
Yeah.
It was impressive enough to look at it. I'd splitting hairs now. The only thing I would say is there was a lot of private cars and vans parked very close to them, and it sort of took away
Yes.
from from it. No, I didn't see any of the exhibitions that they gave, of their fighting and stuff like that. But it was just to look at it. If the field had been a bit more bare, just with their tents and stuff, and I thought it might be. Now that's nitpicking of the highest pedigree, but I
If you're
suppose,
making a film of it now, you wouldn't have any cars around, would
well,
you?
you'd have to do it the right way,
Yeah.
I suppose. But they had, by all accounts, they had very good crowds at it, and I suppose it's good for the locals, and for people to come in. They had a replica longship there on the Saturday and Sunday, and that's been used on some of the shows. That I think a lot of the lads that actually do the reenactments, they have come to be because of the TV show that was made up in Wicklow called Vikings that ran, I think, for about 10 years. So I suppose they.
We talked on Saturday Chronicle there a couple of weeks ago to the guy, and I think he's based in. I could be wrong on this now. I think his name might be Paul Kavanagh, but they're prepared to come around to schools to, while wouldn't do a full Viking enactment, but just educate the students on what the Vikings did. It was some achievement back 1,000 years ago, more, that at least 1,000 years ago, 1,500 years ago, that they could come from Denmark all the way to Ireland by boat.
Up the Shannon.
Up the Shannon, yeah. Yeah.
Stop in Holy Island.
We won't talk about the raping and plundering, but
No.
I suppose, no. In fairness, and it's a great for the Brian Brew Festival. It's a great tie-in.
Oh, it is.
It's unique.
Brian Brew, yeah.
Yeah, it's totally unique, for it. But no,
Yeah, the photographs there, and the crowd on the bridge. There's a big crowd on the bridge there, and the the fireworks going off. Yeah, it looks great.
And the only thing is, the Vikings, I mean, they came and they weren't, Brian Brew didn't hunt them all out into the sea. He defeated their power, let's say, at the Battle of Clontarf. But the Vikings stayed put.
Yeah, yeah.
And many of us, whether we know it or not, have Viking blood in us.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
And so they were our ancestors as well. But anyway, that's the Vikings descend on Kildare, and it's a spectacular photograph there.
Yeah, and it appears they're reading the article, Jim. They had a great weekend with big crowds and an outdoor. There was something we will build on for next year. An outdoor cinema was held in Smith O'Brien GA grounds on Friday night, which drew a lot of praise from parents who didn't have to worry about their children wandering off due to its secure location.
Yes.
So they had,
as long as
there's always new ideas, isn't
None of
there?
that is weather dependent.
well,
As
as,
the weather.
as long as the sun is shining, that'll be okay, you know. So
Okay, there's a piece there as well on Tulla, and the headline is Tulla rose in to support Kirsty. And Kirsty is overwhelmed by the support following a sponsorship appeal to raise money for a charity in memory of her late 17-year-old daughter. And Scarlett Feely was her name, Upper Tyrreda Tulla, and she died as a result of serious head injuries in September 2018, following a fall on the stairs. And her mother is Kirsty Donlan, and she has, well, it says she has still a lot of unanswered questions surrounding her daughter's death following an inquest into Scarlett's death that produced an open verdict. So more than €3,750 has been raised within the last 2 weeks following a public sponsorship appeal.
Yeah, but this young lady, she was on a night out, and she was in a house, and she fell down the stairs, and it resulted in her death anyway. So it is very unfortunate, but sure that this
Tragic
was
accident.
these things happen.
It does happen, yeah.
Yeah, there'll be a concert in aid of this charity in Canucknagui on October 17th, later this year. So people might want to support that. Okay.
Jim, I should have said just when we were talking about Kildaloo, they had a Strut Your Mutt dog show.
Yes.
And I think Sam,
A
who's
high-class affair, I would imagine.
I'd say probably the highlight of the weekend for a lot of the people. Sam, a Springer Spaniel and an ex-army dog owned by Aidan Walsh, won the Best in Show as part of the competition, and they raised over €500, which was given towards Limerick Animal Welfare as well. So
Lovely, lovely. Yes, people are very proud of their mutts. And their cats, Luke.
you are very much so.
Yes.
But a cat wouldn't lower himself to be in a competition. Because
Larry wouldn't, would he?
no.
Not willingly anyway.
No,
Well,
no.
you know what they say, dogs have masters, cats
Have servants.
have slaves.
Yeah.
You're their
Yes,
slave,
yeah,
yeah.
yes.
You'd vouch for that, Luke, would you?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Tidy Towns. Mount Shannon Community Council are introducing a weekly Tidy Towns drop-in weeding and cleaning every Monday at 7 p.m. in the Ashton Park Arch. All volunteers would be welcome.
So if you drop in, you're going to get a job.
You are, yes. But of course, I suppose the Tidy Towns judging has already taken place now. We're in the facing the middle of July. Judging usually takes place in June. But
Does it as early as that?
Oh, it does, yeah. And if you're in the running for something,
If you're shortlisted, let's
they'll
say.
come back
Yeah.
maybe in August again and have another look. But I suppose most Tidy Towns in all our towns and villages around East Clare are for ourselves rather than for the...
Yeah, it's nice to keep them clean
It's
and tidy.
lovely to
It
keep the
is.
villages clean and...
Tidy and keep the grass cut and the weeds down. And
Yes,
Yeah.
and I
Flowers-
suppose
flowers
that's the
going, yeah.
thinking behind it. I know Whitegate are doing the same thing, and I'm sure other places
Jim, were
as
you
well.
teaching in Mount Shannon the year that Mount Shannon won the Tidy Towns?
I was indeed.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, I was. They won the Tidy Towns. I started there in '79,
Yeah,
and they won the Tidy Towns in 1981.
correct. That's right.
So it was a great time, great celebrations. Local people very proud of their village. And the following year, I don't think they do it now, but in 1982, the Tidy Towns competition.
Yeah,
was,
the awards were there,
held.
and if I can remember that it lashed rain the same
It
evening.
did. It did indeed. I remember because we did a whole parade up the village with the school children.
Yeah.
We had them up on tractor trailers.
Yes.
So we were driving up through the village, and there's still photographs hanging around of this. And I remember we used poster paint to paint the handles of the timbers they had. And of course the rain came, as you described.
There were
and
water paints, were
the
there?
water paints poured down onto hands and arms and everything.
Colourful.
But because there was a time in you enter Tidy Towns and you'd fill out a page or 2 pages, and for putting your entry, but you have to send in about 100 pages now, and I think Luke could probably adhere to that.
Yeah. Now, I would, without trying to call it out too badly, the Tidy Towns competition as is currently is not what the Tidy Towns competition originally started off as.
Yeah.
It's very much into biodiversity and all that type of stuff
right.
nowadays. So it's like sort of actually having your village looking well is nearly frowned upon. They nearly want you to have
They want weeds thrown away.
and all the rest of that, and
Wildflower patches here and there.
would say yearly flowers are nearly frowned upon. So you don't see any lovely displays of we'll say maybe begonias or marigolds or stuff like that anymore. They don't want that, but like everything, voluntary groups all over Clare and all over the country are doing the work that the government, via the councils, should be doing to maintain places. And without volunteers, it wouldn't go anywhere.
It's put to grind to a halt.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
but there, even within that, there's a disconnect, because the bigger towns and cities
Yeah.
all have, we'll say,
Loads of funding.
well, they have the
flowers.
council staff
Yeah.
to maintain the areas.
Ground staff kind of,
and
yeah.
we'll say to put on displays, whereas the likes of the Mills or Bodyke or Tungraney or Gunlow or anywhere, or Mount Shannon, and you bear in mind, Mount Shannon won the competition in '81 a few years ago. They weren't entering it,
Yeah.
and I know there was a lot of debate going on as to is it actually worth the hassle of
Yeah.
putting in an entry anymore for because like I said, the the form alone is
We don't enter anymore, but we keep the place.
Yeah.
We have 2 lads employed in force scheme.
Yeah. Well, you're lucky to
cut
have them,
grass
Pat.
and look after the place.
Yeah, like the thing is that and a lot of the volunteers that are there have been there for many years and aren't getting any younger, and they're not able to do as much of the physical work anymore. And it's hard to get people on schemes just to keep the places looking well. And that's where I think that the government, they talk about CE schemes, right? And there are advantages to them. But if you're only giving someone 25 euros a week more than what they could get for sitting on their arse at home, there's no incentive to sort of do it.
No, they were to increase that. Did they ever increase it?
No,
They were to increase
no.
that there. They talked about it about 2 years ago, but then of course it takes about 4 years for these things to come down.
Okay, last but not least, a curtain concert will be held in Mount Shannon.
A what?
A curtain, K-I-R. Oh, sorry, it's finished. It was last Friday night. But anyway, I didn't know what a curtain concert was. But curtain is a Sanskrit word meaning narrating, reading, or praising. And it comes from the Indian spiritual tradition.
It's like a chant or something.
So it must be some... Anyway, it's over now, so we can't see
Kim,
it.
before we finish, I'd just like to say we'd like to pay tribute to Shane O'Donnell for his contribution to Clare hurling. I think he stepped away from it last Sunday in Cork Park, and it didn't finish the way we'd like to see it finishing, but Shane has given
Remember 2013 in the replay? He was magic.
Great service to Clare hurling, and he suffered from a couple of bouts of concussion.
Yeah.
And still came back for this year again. So
Okay.
we wish him all the best, and
we all join in. And of course,
thank
he
you
has
for his
roots
service.
here in East Clare.
Yeah,
In Killanena.
That's us.
yeah.
Yes, I remember his grandfather, Tom O'Donnell, quite well. Yeah.
Okay, listen, thank you very much. Thanks to Pat
Thanks, Jim.
and to Tom and to Luke
Thanks,
for all your contributions today. And we'll go to Pat for the last piece of music, if we have time for music this evening. We've a lot of chat done.
Well, Argentina Day was on July 9th. This is their Independence Day, so we'll have Don't Cry for Me, Argentina from Elaine Page and from the musical Evita.
Lovely. Very nice piece to finish on. Many thanks, Pat. Thanks to you at home for listening. With the help of God, we'll see you again around 2 p.m. on Sunday next. So from us for now, goodbye and God bless.
Don't cry for me, Argentina. The truth is